Okay, so today we're going to talk about one of the wildest, most brilliant figures in all of history, the ancient Greek philosopher Diogenes. This was a man who basically turned his entire life into a piece of performance art. And it was all designed to shock you, to provoke you, and to make you question literally everything you think you know. You want to know his most famous bit? He would walk around the super busy streets of Athens in broad daylight, holding a lit lantern. He'd shove it right up in people's faces, and when they'd ask, what are you doing? He'd just say, I'm looking for an honest man. Just think about that for a second. It's such a simple act, but it's an absolutely savage takedown of the entire society around him. And this guy didn't just talk the talk. He lived his philosophy. He owned nothing. His home, it was a big ceramic jar, like a wine barrel, just sitting in the middle of the marketplace. And this wasn't because he was poor. It was a choice. It was a deliberate, total rejection of comfort, status, and everything people thought was normal. He was also, and I'm not kidding, history's original troll. So the famous philosopher Plato, a total heavyweight, he defines a human being as a featherless biped. Well, what does Diogenes do? He finds a chicken, plucks all its feathers off, bursts into Plato's academy, holding it up and shouts, "Behold, a man!" It's absolutely hilarious, but it's also a brilliant way to destroy a stuffy, abstract idea. And get this, the guy had zero fear. He even faced down Alexander the Great, the conqueror of the entire known world, and dismissed him with a single command. It's an incredible story, and we are absolutely getting to that, and Alexander's reaction, which is not what you'd expect. So all these stories, they paint a picture of, well, a total madman. The craziest philosopher ever? You could definitely make that argument. But here's the big question we've got to ask. Was there a method to all this madness? Was it just for shock value, or was it all part of some deep, radical philosophy? And let's be crystal clear about how outrageous we're talking. The historical records say he just do his bodily functions in public without a care in the world. Somebody called him a dog, so he urinated on the guy's leg. His justification for other public activities? He just wished it was as easy to cure hunger by rubbing his stomach. So yeah, what on earth was going on here? Okay. To get Diogenes, you have to get the philosophy he basically invented, cynicism. It's the key. It's the code that unlocks all the chaos and shows you how all those bizarre actions were actually really powerful philosophical statements. The name tells you everything you need to know. Cynic comes from the Greek word kynikos, which means dog-like. Now, people called him a dog as an insult, right? Because he lived on the streets, ate whatever, had no shame. But Diogenes, he loved it. He embraced it. To him, a dog was the ideal. It's an animal that lives completely in the moment, true to its nature, and totally free from anxiety about what others think. So this is the cheat sheet. Every single crazy thing Diogenes did was just him acting out these principles. Living in that jar, that's rejecting wealth and living by nature's rules. Going to the bathroom in public, that's shamelessness, used as a weapon to show how stupid social rules are. For him, the only way to be happy and good was to strip away everything society tells you that you need. And he just owned the insults completely. I love this quote. He's saying, yeah, call me a dog, because like a good dog, I'm loyal to my friends, and I will bite my enemies. And his enemies were the hypocrites, the fakes, and the power-hungry. He wore the name like a badge of honor. And this brings us to a really crucial idea. Diogenes didn't write books or long essays. His life was his philosophy. He basically turned the streets of Athens into his own personal stage and used his actions as a living, breathing takedown of the world around him. His biggest philosophical rival was Plato. And you can see the clash right here. For Plato, philosophy was all about these abstract ideas, this higher world of perfect forms. But for Diogenes, philosophy was about how you lived your life, right here, right now. That plucked chicken, it wasn't just a gab, it was a profound point. He was saying, hey Plato, your fancy, high-minded theories completely fall apart the second they face a little bit of messy reality. There's another great story where Diogenes wanders into Plato's school, which apparently had some really nice, expensive carpets, and he just starts walking all over them with his muddy feet. When Plato asks him what in the world he's doing, Diogenes just says, I am trampling on the vanity of Plato. He was always calling out what he saw as hypocrisy. Philosophers talking a big game about rejecting the material world while living in total comfort. So really, this is what it all boils down to. On one side, you have society chasing money, status, and power over other people. And on the other side, you have Diogenes, chasing simplicity, freedom on the inside, and mastery over himself. He believed the more stuff you own, the more your stuff owns you. Real freedom was needing absolutely nothing. Which brings us back to that legendary showdown with the most powerful man in the world. So the story goes, Alexander the Great, who is a big fan of philosophy, goes to find Diogenes. He finds him just, chilling, sunbathing. Alexander stands over him, blocking his light, and offers to grant him any wish he desires, anything at all. And Diogenes just looks up and says, "Stand out of my sun." Now, Alexander's guards were totally shocked, but Alexander himself, he was blown away. He was deeply impressed. He turned to his men and said, "If I were not Alexander, I would like to be Diogenes." The man who had everything in the world recognized a kind of power in the man who wanted nothing. He saw a freedom in Diogenes that even he, the conqueror of the world, could never possess. So why are we still talking about this homeless guy from over 2,000 years ago? Because his legacy is all about a kind of radical freedom, and it has just echoed through history, challenging all of us to take a hard look at our own lives. I mean, his philosophy was put to the ultimate test. He was once captured by pirates and sold into slavery. At the auction block, they asked him what he was good at. He didn't say he was a philosopher. He said his skill was to govern men. The guy who bought him was so impressed that he hired Diogenes to teach his kids. Think about that. Even in literal chains, Diogenes proved he was the only free man there because his freedom came from the inside. And his influence was huge. The Stoics, who came later, took a lot of his core ideas about virtue and living according to nature. They just kind of repackaged it to be a little less confrontational. And get this, when someone asked Diogenes where he was from, he didn't name a city. He said, "I am a citizen of the world." In an age of intense city-state rivalries, that was a revolutionary idea. He just became this timeless symbol of speaking truth to power. And in a really strange, almost poetic twist of fate, history says that Diogenes died in the exact same year as Alexander the Great. It's such a powerful, symbolic ending, isn't it? The man who tried to conquer the world and the man who conquered himself, both leaving it at the very same time. It's like two opposite paths to a meaningful life, coming to a close together. So that leaves us with one last thought. Diogenes told the most powerful man on earth not to block his sunlight, the simplest, most natural, and totally free source of warmth there is. In our world today, with all the social media filters, the endless chase for followers, and all the digital noise, it really makes you wonder, what are the things that are blocking our sun today? What simple truths are we letting get lost in the shadows of our own complicated lives?